Okay. So for those of you who are here, thank you so much for joining us. Sustainability is mission critical for the planet. We really couldn't get any more urgent than this. This is the number one challenge for the industry. So thank you for those of you that are here to hear and discuss. With me is Lorenzo Fasolo Bologna from Montevideano, and really privileged to have him as a partner. His background, I think, is well known. He's become a world leader in the production of very high quality extra virgin oil, single dose olive, wine, and food. And in 2009, Montevideano became the first company in the world to be certified with zero CO2 emissions, which is incredible. So thank you for joining us. Bravo. And Yves Alavo is the founder and principal of Nexus Brand, which is the first brand agency specializing in travel and hospitality, providing brand strategy, products design, and development services to airlines and hotels. So Yves has spent over 20 years in the travel industry. He was one of Formia's founding partners. And prior to that, Yves was head of product development and marketing at Distur. So he's got a long background in the industry. And he was also, Yves was also at the inception of Infinite Lives, Green Points, which we are going to be sharing with you today. So let's kick off, and let's start by, I said sustainability is the number one challenge for the industry. It is critical. We're almost out of time. So we need real concrete solutions. So Lorenzo, how do you see what needs to be done? How would you define the urgency and any thoughts on what we can do?
Okay, first of all, I think that when we talk about sustainability, everyone start talking about sustainability. So
Yeah.
what does it mean? That everyone is talking about the word, but no one in a certain way is giving solution. So the problem is that if I take my background, my company, my family, I come from a place which is the green heart of Italy, where my father planted 10,000 trees, and he went in the sustainability because he thought that if you want to do an olive oil and the wine, the best you can have, you have to start from the environment. So the environment is the starting point to have something that is a quality. Today, the sustainability is something that, because we have a problem. But if I have to start thinking about what is the solution, so if I ask all of you, what is the solution? Sometimes I think even in myself, I really don't know what is the solution, because we just think, okay, we need to do something, but at the end of the day, we're doing nothing. But I think here we are in the airline industry. And the airline industry, I've got three things that all of us can do in this place. If I ask you, if instead of coming with a 25 kilos luggage, I give you some eco champions and you come with a hand luggage of 8 kilos, and you are responsible for helping the planet. I said, okay, but I want one person. But if you think about 9.4 billion people traveling every year, well, the impact can be good, but you win because you get some green points. There is less pollution. You're spending less. The airline are spending less fuel. So it's a win-win-win situation. So this is one point that if we think how can we make it for the airlines, it's already something so important. The second, when we choose a meal, if we arrive on board and we think, okay, we're having a meal, but what about if you decide one day before, oh look, I would like to have this meal. And it's a saving also for a lot of food that is going to be waste because you're not going to have it. So the choice will be exactly what you wanted. That's another way to save. And the third, actually, is how can we impact on every single item that goes in the airline, because there is a lot of travel, how can we make some kind of, let's say, project that at the end of the day will be zero cost in the sense of carbon footprint? And this could be something that we can do it because Infinity Green Points is going to do projects that are going to offset whatever is going to be on board. So these are only 3 items. There could be many others, but if you put them all together, it's something that everyone is winning. So it's trying to make a little things, even when you switch off the TV, when you go to bed, that little red light, if everyone in the world is doing, you are saving half of a forest that is in Amazonia. It seems so strange, but these are like the impact that everyone can do it. So I think that sometimes when we want to talk about sustainability, we need to think, what can we personally do? And I think that these 3 little items could be something that is a win-win-win situation.
Thank you, Lorenzo. I think what I hear you saying is that we make the sustainability decisions, we make them personal. We don't leave it to the company or others, but we actually take on board decisions that can help change. And you also talked about the community, or if you, the power of the group of people, the 9.9 billion that might all be tracking it the same way. And you mentioned something about infinite green points, which I'm going to ask Eve. I said at the beginning that Eve was at the inception of Infinite Green Points. So let's understand what that is, because we offer this as a solution. So would you like to share the concept and what it is?
Sure. I think to provide some context, we all are working in the airline industry. We all are travelers. And if you pay attention over the past couple of years, sustainability has been a topic that airlines have been addressing from their perspective and trying to contribute to the planet by saying that they've been taking initiative, better fuel consumption, waste management, and number of initiatives, changing plastic cups to maybe paper cups, etc., etc. But what some of us picked up is that it cannot be a one-way solution. The airline cannot keep on saying, we are helping you, we are helping the planet. It has to be a both-way, two-side answer. One where, yes, the airline take initiatives, but the main party, and that's what Lorenzo was addressing, is we as travelers need to contribute. Contribute means what do we do and how do we do it, so that that solution, if it was slow from an airline perspective, becomes exponential when we, all of us, come together and take action and make that sustainable step part of our journey, meaning how we pre-order meals, how do we look at our luggage weight when we travel, and providing tools for the airline to reward that behavior. So as much as we want to be sustainable and sustainability warriors, a bit of corruption sometimes helps. So getting some points from making a good, having a good behavior is worthwhile. So what we did with Infinite Lives was to say, let's incentivize travelers whenever they travel and take initiative and pre-select certain product or fly with 15 kg as opposed to 30 kg. Let's reward that, and we have mechanism that we've calculated through a platform that rewards that behavior, and it is measurable. Beyond that, what happens is that those points that we earn as what we call sustainability warrior or green point champions are points that we can redeem or donate to different initiatives that are chosen by the airline. The exception when it comes to Infinite Lives is that it's not specific to an airline because we travel across many airlines. So the points we collect is what we call an open loop. It's not a closed loop. Closed loop is something I would compare to our loyalty programs that we are collecting. The beauty of the world we live in today is that the younger generation is a lot more frustrated by the pollution level that we are created. Some of them don't even want to travel. So what we are saying is that whilst in our generation, we were happy to have hundreds of thousands of miles, we believe that the next generation will be happy to have hundreds of thousands of green points. And if that happens, then we are contributing effectively to sustainability.
Thank you very much. So hopefully that is clear. Thank you for the claps as well, Joe and Keith. It's clear that what we're doing is driving customer behavior by incentivizing the right eco-conscious or sustainable decisions that encourages more of the same behavior. So let's just break it. I just want to break it down quickly. We talked about what those are. Essentially, when a passenger is traveling, when we're traveling, the things that we can influence weight and waste. We can't influence if there are plastic cups on the aircraft. We can't influence if there are bamboo equipment. But we can control weight and waste. So how can we do that? And Lorenzo and Eve have identified both of them. But let's just drill down. So pre-ordering food on aircraft is pretty standard now in business class or first. You know, the premium cabins have linked in digitally or via communication prior to guest travel with fantastic menus offering, and you can pre-order and feel positive about what you're getting. For the airline, even if they take 5% shaving off the over catering in premium cabins, that's a direct financial return. And the customer is getting what they ordered, and there is a satisfaction with that. But if we also educate that it supports the environment, there's a double satisfaction, I believe. We would like to think that the opportunity is in economy, where to date it's very rare. In fact, I don't know of any airlines that are offering pre-selection of meals in economy prior to travel. And so we think there's a huge opportunity not only in customer satisfaction, but also in reduction in food waste. And I've got some quick facts from a research that was done in Loughborough University in the UK that said that they did a study on behavioral intervention strategies to reduce airline food waste. And they essentially showed that in economy, there is a direct association between first choice and passengers' food wasting behavior. If I don't receive my first choice, chicken or fish, and I want chicken and there's none left, then there is a high degree of waste. 80%, in fact, of what is coming off the aircraft is due to that behavior. So if we are smart enough to consider customer choices in advance, we will reduce waste. And I'll give you another statistic. The landfill waste globally contributes to 5% of carbon emissions across the world. Airlines are pumping a lot of waste off cabin into landfill and incineration. We can, by a simple choice, we can reduce that.
You want to share what happened we did with Saudi to give some concrete?
Yeah, well, we did some beta testing with Saudi Airlines, and about 20% of the passengers on the beta testing signed up for the decisions that they were offered, which was, I can choose my meal in advance, I can determine if I want an amenity bag or not, and I will choose to travel with no luggage or just hand luggage or less luggage. 20% on a beta test is a really high statistic. So we're able to use that to run some numbers, and less waste, you run a more efficient business, and you're more productive. So it's really a no-brainer. On the question of amenity kits, I mean, you've been in the business of supplying amenity kits to airlines, Eve. Do you have any thoughts on how we can manage the customer behavior, customer perception of value, and lead them to make eco-conscious decisions?
I think we've been trying to find far too many comfortable solutions for travelers without telling them the level of urgency there is to make to engage. And the fact of the matter is that with the platform we have available nowadays, and the one we are using, which is Infinite Life Greenpoint, pre-ordering a special meal has been available for ages. Using the same technology to allow individuals to pre-order their meal on the menu is not rocket science, but it seems that it takes forever to implement. The impact of that, however, is millions of dollars for the airline. The impact of that is basically less fuel burn, and the impact of that is a better experience for the traveler because they have the food they were looking for. So it's basically plus, 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 plus. So today, I think when you look at amenity kits, which is just one of the example, airlines say that up to 30% of those amenity kits are left behind. The fact of the matter is, again, when you ask a traveler to pre-select or to opt out of their amenity kits, then my microphone is also not following. He's not happy. So when you ask your traveler to say, do you want an amenity kit or do you want to opt out? As soon as you have the information, you can load the amount of amenity kits you want or you can give to your passenger. And it comes down to education, communication, and transparency. Those three things, if we are able to achieve that, and that's what literally something like Infinite Life is doing, we can achieve a number of things. And I will leave to Lorenzo to enforce that statement.
No?
Well, I totally agree with what you're saying, and it's just that the matter that we wanted to come out is that these 2-3 things, if we want really to make it happen, it can make a big impact for all of us. But what is important that most of the time, if we don't think, what do I get for it? People, they don't do nothing. So what is important is that the message is, what can I get out of it? And this program is to make sure that the eco champion is not only in the airline industry, but this one is in all the travel, and you get this kind of point, like a loyalty point, everywhere. So is the hotel, is the cruise line, is the airline, is even with your credit card, wherever you go, and you feel that when you're going to spend something, in return, you gain something, but you're gaining, it's everyone is going to win. Because I don't believe in the business where someone is winning and someone is losing. The business is always a win-win situation. Otherwise, it's a short-term thinking. And this environment problem, in my opinion, we have to see it where everyone is winning. And if we can get to this kind of stage where we understand that everyone is winning, that's the only solution.
Thanks, Lorenzo and Eve. So I would suggest that what we need to do is to break down the silos within individual airlines that own the customer and want to manage the customer's perception and behavior, and block what you've just described, which is a lifestyle environment where I build loyalty across my travel experiences, across my lifestyle experiences, across my banking, and I carry the loyalty with me from company to company, airline to airline, rather than have to redeem them within the airline exclusively. So, so just to define a little about what options there are for customers that build these loyalty points, infinite green points, through making these decisions. They redeem them on our website, so it's a membership platform, and They can redeem them for eco stays at eco resorts. They can donate them to worthwhile environmental projects globally. And they can have a sense of, I'm tracking and living a lifestyle that is sustainable, and moving the needle, and being part of the solution, the global solution to reduce carbon emissions. So, Lorenzo, you mentioned at the beginning that, the heritage, your father, starting with the environment, which took you to becoming the world's first company registered as zero carbon emissions. Any other partnerships? Anything else that you're working with that is focusing on driving carbon emissions down?
Well, I remember that came the chief commercial officer of Microsoft, and when we get this first certification in the world, came this person, and we had a lot of journalists. There were about 300 from all over the world, and Microsoft was trying to make a new technique how to see in agriculture to save fuel, because you had a map and a GPS that you can see where you were going with a tractor to avoid to pass 2 times. So it was something good for the agriculture, but also it was also something good for the planet. And I remember Montevibiano is a small company, it's not a big one. And this chief commercial officer said, but why you decide Montevibiano to start this project? I said, it's not about the size of the company, but in life it's all about the size of your vision. So this was a beautiful lesson that I get from him, because exactly we are little today compared to the world, but if we have the vision that everyone wants to get there, together we have an incredible opportunity. And this is what I think about any kind of project has to start from the vision of what you want to go and what you want to do. So the partnership is important, no matter how big is your company or how small it is.
Okay. So I'm going to take the opportunity to share a partnership that is in place between Montevibiano and Infinite Lives, which is by extension to take a look at products that are shipped out of factory in Italy, Turkey, going to suppliers across the world, and presenting them with a product that is carbon offset, so that the food that is authentically Italian, is beautifully made, is received by the customers on board with zero carbon emissions. That's a strong commitment from a company like Montevibiano. And what we did was to track every step of the journey: handling, transportation, refrigeration, shipment, where, the whole journey from origin to destination, to determine the amount of carbon emissions emitted, and then work with Montevibiano to say, here's where you stand. Let's take the bold decision to offset that before you negotiate with your airline on the deal, and show credibility, integrity in the journey, the tracking, and also show, I think I have something here actually, and also show where you're offsetting. We want to do good for the planet. We want to suck the carbon out, put it back into the ground. Sequestration is the term. And we have taken that carbon that resulted in the product going from source to destination, put it back into the ground and guarantee a 20-year sequestration through a reforestation project in Italy. And I want to thank Lorenzo for being bold enough to take that next step in the journey of environmental management for his company. And this, I think, is the future. You know, airlines are going to be challenging where product is coming from and asking the questions, what are you doing about the carbon footprint? So this, I think, is the way forward and one of the parts of the puzzle in addressing carbon emissions. And perhaps, Eve, I can ask the same question of you. What partnerships are you involved in that are driving positive change for the environment?
I'm going to set that partnership right now by inviting anyone here to go on Infinite Life Green Points,
Yeah.
to register as a member. And by the time the next airline they fly with has Green Points partnership, they will earn points. I think that's the first start. Yeah, there is a lot of technology behind the platform developed. It makes it very easy for travelers in airlines, hotels, cruise lines to become member of that partnership, and it's one that is basically we are ready to have more members who are ready to earn those points, because sometimes airlines need to hear that those people are ready to earn points. So once we have the critical mass, we can then have more serious conversation with some of the airlines or hotels. So the more of you come online, register your profile, and you're ready. I think all we need is a phone number.
Yes, we can. Yes, I'll put a QR code up if you want to take up that challenge. Take a scan and join us. Thank you.
I think that's the best thing we can do.
Okay, all right. I have another challenge. Is there anybody from airlines here in the audience? Do we have any airlines? Okay, great. So we talked about those giving customers choices that lead them to make good decisions, sustainable decisions. And Lorenzo talked about traveling with less luggage. So back to our beta test, we are able to demonstrate the effectiveness of that. If you educate people, lead them to make the right choices, people want to do it. And we know all the stats are out there. Booking.com said 76% of their research leads towards people wanting to travel sustainably. And that number is going to grow. So on our beta test, people took up the challenge to travel light, to travel with less, and we rewarded them with infinite green points. We want to track the personal CO2, your own carbon footprint for making these decisions. And we have a formula to do that. And you probably have had the opportunity to pay to offset, travel with BA from London to New York. It will cost you £49. The uptake on that is less than 1%. And I'm quoting IATA on that. So it is having very little impact. How about if we say travel with less and we give you something? You get points which you can then redeem in ways that we've just described. So we're partnering with Cranfield University in the UK, probably the preeminent university for aviation. And they're ready to fund, to continue that research, to continue that study with ourselves and with airlines who want to put it to the test. We know from our test with our beta test, we were able to reduce 68 metric tons of carbon because of reduced baggage. Phenomenal. That was just one flight over a 3-month spread. You think even a mid-range airline with a modest airline with 500 aircraft, sorry, what the financial impact could be. So anybody that wants to talk to me about partnering on that, I'm ready to do that, and as is Cranfield, and they're ready to put the money in. They're very interested in the customer perception, the value the customer feels in this project, not just the calculations, not just the saving, but how is this going to drive forward and drive behavior into the future. So I'm ready to talk about that with anybody. Yeah, I think let's do a couple
I
of...
think it's worth adding that whichever partnership an airline engage into, there is a detailed traceability down to the meal and the passenger of what just happened on this flight.
wrap
How
up.
many passengers took
Shall
the
I-
initiative?
Final.
How many of them
Final.
made certain choices? And it's traceable. There are reporting. They have the dashboard they can go into and totally assess that live. So that's one of the unique thing about making sustainability personal. So one part is, yes, as individual, we need to be part of the solution. But number two is that the airline gets, or the hotel, gets to literally track on daily basis what has been part of, how many have taken that, make that decision on what product, what are they saving, what are the impacts. And it's no, I mean, technology allows to traceability. So that's something that is provided within Infinite Lives Greenpoint.
Thank you, Yves. Okay, so we're going to just close with a couple of slides and some final thoughts, and then open for any questions that people might have. So, Lorenzo, do you have any final thoughts? You're good. You're good. Okay, so let's just take a couple of final closes. So, I put this up because I know the industry is driving towards 2050, zero carbon by 2050, but I think we lose track of this goal. By 2030, we are supposed to be almost 50% of the way there. And quite frankly, we are so off track that it's an embarrassment. So it is critical. It is urgent. Really, if I put it in a nutshell, for aviation, less waste, less fuel, less damage to the planet. So we've been introducing Infinite Lives to you as a company. That's what I head up. And that's what we do. We transform the traveler sustainability experience. We're customer-centric. We're focused on helping the customer do good for the planet. So that's our mission. Eve has put out the challenge to sign up, become an eco-champion, join. Don't stay in the silo. Be part of a global, wider enterprise. And if you are interested in partnering, as we are doing with Montevideano, talk to us about how we can make that a reality for you. Not just carbon offsets, but also lifestyle assessment, which is a much more rigorous and thorough assessment. And there you go. Talk to me. Talk to us. If you would like to explore any of the themes that we've been discussing, partnering with us on a project with Cranfield, introducing Infinite Greenpoints into your customer experience, discussing carbon emissions, carbon offset opportunities if you are involved in supplying to airlines. So thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah. Any questions or thoughts from the audience? Thank you, Lorenzo. I know Lorenzo has airlines lined up, ready to go, so you better go talk to them. Thank you.